Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of the Pursuit of Calling podcast with me, your host, Thomas Carney. This is the August recap episode where I get to give you go over some of the previous topics of the month, and in case you missed them, and some life updates. So guys, if you're interested in my life, listen to the episode, and I'll see you in there. But before we dive in, I want to ask you to send me a message. If you have any questions, or you want me to talk on a particular topic, or you just want to say some encouraging words, you can do so on Instagram or via the email that is listed in the show notes of this episode. Thank you, and let's dive in. All right, guys, let's get into it. So I'm trying a little bit of a new format, a little bit more of a structured format for these monthly recaps. So I have one thing that Don Marasco gave me after we were done recording was to go over a couple of the previous episodes from this month. So in case you missed them, you can go back and listen to them, and I will talk about the main topics that I liked about them. I'm going to give you some life updates, some health updates, how I've grown in the last month, and then if we have time, I'd like to talk about how I plan to improve moving forward into next month. So let's dive into a little bit of a recap of a couple of last episodes from the Pursuit of Calling podcast. So staying joyful on the journey was the first episode from this month. If you haven't listened to it, you can go back and listen to it after this one, of course. And I talked about how I stay joyful on this journey of pursuing my calling while living with the chronic pain condition, muscular dystonia. And that's obviously applicable to anybody's life. Not the exactly muscular dystonia, obviously, but living with pain, living with struggles in your life, and how you stay joyful in spite of those struggles. I said, I know that there is I say joyful because I know there is a larger purpose on my life, and that doesn't stop because of my circumstances. Joy is an internal response of how we choose to respond to external circumstances. So really look at your circumstances, look at where you're not joyful, when you're not joyful, figure out why you're not joyful, and figure out how you can really turn that internal response to express more joy to that external circumstance. And listening to that episode hopefully will help you do that. So, and then in the last episode, I was talking with Cole Zimmerman, where it was Cole Zimmerman Calling the Creatives, Knowledge versus Wisdom. We talked about how whatever you want to do, you can't just research it and then think you know what you're doing. You have to take action. So that's the knowledge versus wisdom piece. Cole talked about doing research for the best cameras or computers to use to be able to take the best, thinking that you'll be able to take even better pictures, and that'll make you a more professional photographer if you get better tools. But then said that if you don't know how to actually use them, by using them and, messing up and trying again, then you really aren't going to get anywhere. You have to take action. That is the knowledge versus wisdom piece. The knowledge is just just knowing that knowing the information, and wisdom is knowing how to apply that information practically. And that's going to take not knowing exactly how it's going to work out, exactly how it's going to be after you apply that knowledge, and then possibly failing because you applied it incorrectly, and then learning from those mistakes and trying again. And your wisdom will grow as you learn from your mistakes. I've said it before, but John Maxwell has said, and has a book called "Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn." And like Lee said in his episode, Lee Hanyo said, talk about, he said, sorry, the only failure is not starting. So you can know all this stuff. You can have all this head knowledge of everything, but if you don't have the wisdom, then you really don't know much. That was a little hard hitting, I know, but if you don't apply the knowledge, then what are you doing? That knowledge kind of useless if you're not applying it. So if you haven't listened to either of those episodes, Staying Joyful on the Journey or Cole Zimmerman's episode, definitely go back and listen to those after you're done with this one. Add them to your queue. Then, okay, so let's dive into a couple of my life updates. So today, actually, a little bit after I'm done recording this episode, I'm going to be going to a bachelor party because my best friend, Andrew Vergado, who was on a couple episodes way back in the beginning of this whole journey of podcasting for me, he's getting married in October. And I'm the best man, so that's pretty cool. And I've also learned, though, I've been realizing what I really like about planning and the things I don't like about planning, and maybe I'll touch on that in a future episode. There's some things I just, I didn't do great at. Some things I know I could have done better on, but overall, it's going to be a really fun evening, a really fun day, because I'm recording this early in the morning. And yeah, it's going to be a good day. I'm really excited. So if you know Andrew, just tell him congratulations. If you know his fiance, Alana, definitely reach out to her as well and say congratulations. Yeah. And yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned, and then another actually cool thing that I didn't mention in the last update, but I don't think so anyway. But I'm an uncle. My nephew Isaac was born about, I believe, 2 months ago now, and he's precious. He is the best little boy ever, and he doesn't do much right now. He's young, and all he does is eat, sleep, and poop. But he is great. So my older sister Amber had him, and about 2 months ago, and yeah, her and her husband's life has changed forever, and it's really cool to see. So let's move into some health updates. My dystonia, as you know that I have, has been progressing to the point where it now affects my face and sometimes my throat. So that affects my eating sometimes. It wasn't doing it yesterday, but can affect my eating, my speaking, which to the point maybe you noticed it. Maybe you will notice it in Don Marasco's episode next month. Ooh, yeah, there's a little bit of a drop for next month. But yeah, you might notice it toward the end of that episode where my voice sounds a little bit raspy. It might sound like I'm sick, but I'm not. I'm not sick. My voice just gets a little bit more gravelly as the muscles in my throat start to contract, which I don't really know how muscles in your throat contract. I haven't really looked into that, but it essentially seems like my dystonia is starting to affect all of my muscles in my body, which sounds really, really bad when I say that. Which, I mean, it's not great. It's not fun. It's not good. But, like, clearly I'm still in a good mood. Clearly I'm still having joy on the journey. So, I don't want you to feel bad for me. I would love your prayers and for healing, but I would also just like you to see me as somebody who isn't letting their circumstance define them. I'm not just a person with muscular dystonia, and that's not my whole character. That's not my whole being. I'm not letting it define me. So that's how I would prefer people see me, instead of just, oh man, he's in pain all the time. Like, that's really not helpful. So, I'm optimistic. I have plans to move forward in my research and keep looking for things that can help me improve my quality of life. whether that be a new environment, supplements, or an extreme diet. The one diet I'm looking to go on in the actually nearer future is called the lion diet. And it's pretty nuts. Like it's the most elimination. It's like the elimination diets of elimination diets. I've done an elimination diet before, but nothing like this. This, you only eat red meat. Sounds bizarre, but I know I learned about this through Jordan Peterson and his daughter, Michaela Peterson. I know that that whole family, I believe, is using the lion diet. They're the people who have kind of constructed it and figured out how that you can survive and actually eliminate a lot of problems by going on this diet and then reintroducing foods back in at a slow rate to figure out what is affecting you and causing certain pains. I'm just curious if I would go on this diet, if it would help my dystonia. And I think if you have some crazy goals, like for me, it's being out of pain, you got to do some crazy things. So I'm probably going to do the lion diet, and I'll keep you guys updated whenever I do that because I'm kind of excited. It sounds weird, but I'm kind of excited to eat nothing but red meat, eat burgers and steak all the time. Sounds kind of fun. So now let's dive into how I've grown in the last month. Because I personally believe that we grow every day. We're growing in some sort of way every day. And the best way to grow is intentionally. So I want to tell you guys how I've been intentionally growing this last month and things I've been noticing about myself. So I've gotten a new surge of motivation within the last month to really pursue what this podcast was started for. You know, providing people with the tools to successfully discover and pursue their God-given calling. I'm going to be opening up an email list soon and hopefully be able to provide you guys with some more value. The goal is to give you guys a digital resource, maybe some exclusive episodes that you can only get by subscribing to the email list. So stay tuned for that and get subscribed so you don't miss when that happens. And I'm just super excited to start that. I've learned a lot about how whenever I am focusing on achieving the goals I've set up before myself, that I become a lot more focused and motivated to be more effective in my day-to-day life. Like I said, I've found this new surge of motivation, but I've also found that I've found this new vigor to just be a better version of myself every single day, to make sure I'm living for excellence, even in my work, like my day-to-day life, in my career as a web and mobile app developer. So work has been going fantastic recently, and my coworker and I have been killing it this month with getting work done like we haven't done before. Like I'm pretty sure we've at least added 50% to our output or throughput, whatever you want to say. And it's pretty nuts. Like we've been killing it. So and I know it's not just because it's not just because I like developing. It's because I really enjoy just not just being productive. I love being effective. I think that's the best way to say it. I love being effective and figuring out ways how I could be more effective and how I can more effectively work with my coworker. Like I've been working on some new techniques to get him and I to work more cohesively together, like reaching out to him more and making sure we are staying on the same page on the features we're creating, and it's definitely been paying off. Like I've been mentioning, I might make an episode because there's these new techniques. Like I said, reaching out to him more. It sounds obvious, but we work remote, so it's harder. It's definitely hard to stay connected with a coworker, with people whenever you're 100% remote from them. So, but I can definitely tell this last month has been there's been some exponential growth in our relationship. So I'm thinking about making an episode because my boss made a one small tweak to how my coworker and I work together. My boss made one small tweak to how our team functions, and that I believe, is one of the integral pieces to why we're working so well together. So I'm thinking about making an episode called The One Small Tweak to Work Better as a Team. So again, stay tuned for that. Get subscribed. Don't miss it. It's probably going to be coming in September. So stay tuned for that. And finally, I'd like to just talk, just to hold myself accountable. I'd like to talk about how I plan to improve moving forward into September. So I'd like to get more focus on my to-do list and figure out some new systems to get what I need and want to get done more effectively. I'm really, I have this app called Todoist that I used to use every single day. I used to use it like clockwork every morning. I would look at it. I would see what I need to get done. I would plan in the evening for all of the little projects I have throughout my life. I would plan cleaning and all of these things, and it just fell off. And so I want to get better at applying that application back to my life, applying Todoist back to my life. And because it's really useful, I highly recommend using it. So in anticipation, 'cause I wrote these notes yesterday or 2 days ago, and just knowing that was a goal in my head this morning, I actually went into Todoist and I wrote out the things I want to do this morning before I leave for the bachelor party I mentioned before. And recording the episode was was priority one. Then I have a couple other things that I have set up to get done as well. And it always just feels really nice whenever I do something I say I'm going to do. So creating a habit around that would be really useful. Then the final thing I think I just realized this morning, something that has been integral in me even sitting down right now to record this episode this morning, has been waking up at the same time every morning. Again, I used to do that, wake up at 6 a.m. every day. I know I'm weird. I love being weird. Like waking up at 6 a.m. every morning, and because that just keeps me on a habit, that keeps me in the process of being able to get things done every single day, and then being able to have fun and do other things in the evening. I'm a morning person, so I get it if you're not a morning person, but the mornings, at least I see mornings as a time to get things done because nobody else is awake. And I mean, I don't have a family, I'm single, and so I feel like maybe obviously my circumstance is a little bit different, but I've heard from fathers and mothers that the morning is still a really good time, that you have to wake up even earlier because when their kids wake up, they want to see their kids off to school and things like that. So waking up really early in the morning is a time when they get things done. So, which makes sense to me. And so I guess you could also do the same thing if you're a night owl and you want to work late into the night. That would work fine too. But for us morning people, us early birds, I think that works the best. And but yeah, I definitely fell out of that for a bit, and it caused me to get less done during the day. But I think all of this that I've talked about, like how I've grown in the last month and how I plan to grow moving forward, is all definitely interconnected. And I just want to use that as motivation to you, the listener who wants to grow, who wants to really get things done and work towards your goals. I really want to motivate you to think about the habits in your life, the ones that aren't helpful. And so you can work on eliminating those habits and thinking about the habits that you want to integrate into your life that would be integral to your productivity, to your personal growth, to your quality of life. So think about those. Thank you for listening to this episode, guys. That is all I have. Again, yeah, I love that you listened to this episode. If you like this episode, share it out on all your social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, or X. Please share it on X, on, what is it called? Instagram. And if you know somebody that this would be useful for, share it with them as well, because it would be really awesome to be able to get more people into this movement of growth, and pursuing your calling. I don't feel like enough people do that. Not enough people intentionally pursue their calling. So if you want to share with somebody that maybe you want them to pursue their calling, or feel like they have a calling in their lives and you see it, but they don't see it themselves, send them this episode, send them this podcast, or give them a particular episode. Wasn't planning on saying that, but again, thank you for listening to this episode. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.